someone submitted a question, why is Eve blamed for original sin? And no doubt Eve is often blamed for original sin, and there's a couple of reasons for that. One is it's poor reading of Scripture. While Eve was the first one to take a bite of the forbidden fruit, people often forget that Adam was right there next to Eve and also took a bite of the fruit. And so I think one of the reasons that folks are quick to blame Eve is they just haven't read Scripture closely enough. Also, theologians in the early church sort of jumped on this and created this myth of original sin as being sort of the genesis of that being with Eve, because Eve was essentially a scapegoat, which allowed them to create a structure in place that centered and protected masculinity. It protected men. And so when we think about the church blaming Eve for original sin, we cannot separate that from the fact that for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, even today, men are often the most powerful in church structures, and they are the ones who are making the rules, writing the theologies, and dictating what's preached. And so the idea that somehow it's a woman's fault that sin has entered the world, I think is biblically inaccurate for a whole lot of reasons, theologically not appropriate for a whole lot of reasons, but continues to exist because of patriarchy and men's inability to share power and belief in the myth of scarcity, and our general inability to not see strong, independent female power as something to be celebrated. It scares most of us, and I think that that's ultimately why you continue to hear a narrative about Eve being the genesis of original sin, which, by the way, I would really encourage us all to stop thinking about original sin first and foremost, but to talk about humanity, I'd much rather just think about original blessing, which sort of dates original sin. It's this idea that before we sin, humanity sins, we are blessed because we're made in the image of God, and God calls us good. And so I really think it's important for us to start there before we get into the whole human depravity bit. But that's my quick answer on why Eve's often attributed to sin and bringing original sin about to the world.